Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Crystal, can you talk, I mean, obviously in many ways you kind of have, if you think about your beginning, you have overcome tremendous odds, and some would say you're an anomaly, you know, with how successful you've been. But in the first 9 years of your life, was there stability when you were living at your grandmother's house, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
In Memphis? And was there a stable kind of family environment there before your mom made the decision to move to Atlanta? I mean, what were your early years like?
There wasn't a lot of stability because of extreme poverty. We were not only at my grandmother's house, but when my grandmother got tired of us, we were at my aunt's house. And then when my aunt had to go somewhere, we were at my uncle's house. And throughout the duration of that, a lot of times my mom wasn't there. So it was, you know, I remember times specifically where we were at my uncle's house and he was like, look, take care of that baby because the baby is crying. Y'all take care of it. And I'm like 7, you know, so I don't know what to do with a crying baby. So there was a lot of taking on parental roles as a young person that had to happen. And then there was just a lot of things that we had to go through as a result of being poor. Just strictly, we don't have any money, so we're going through all this stuff because of that.
Well, what do you think made, because so much is, you know, done early by the time a child's the age of 5, did you have an adult in your life that was consistent, that made a difference? Was it an older sibling? Because to not have anyone there, I mean, really makes you an exception to the rule. And I'm just curious, was there someone that made that difference for you, you know, early? Because obviously, you know, emotionally, cognitively, you excelled, and you know, it's kind of hard based on all the science to think that that could happen in a vacuum. And what was the piece that made the difference?
So the thing that, as far as like before 5, my older sister was stable for me. Like she was there in the picture, but my older sister was 3 years older than me. So she wasn't by any means an adult. And then I had a bunch of family members who were all supportive in their comfort zones. So it's like we could be supportive to you, but after 3 weeks with 3 additional kids in the house, we gotta, you know. Then I had an aunt who took us in. So there were people there. It wasn't like, you know, I was just me and my sister fending in the world for ourselves. There were people there. But until I became a teenager, and this is one thing that I find very interesting, there's some, the Jim Casey Youth Opportunities Initiative released a paper about the adolescent brain and the implications it has on youth in foster care. And so it talks about how the adolescence is actually a period where the brain begins to develop as well. I know initially it was like, okay, if you're not connected or if you don't have any resources by 5 and you've experienced trauma, then you're pretty much done. Your brain is cooked and sorry for you. But what the paper was saying was that, and it made sense to me, I was like, this makes sense, that during adolescence, it's a prime period to rewire a young person's brain because if you provide them with positive youth development opportunities. And so for me, a lot of my connections happen after the age of 12. A lot of my permanent connections, because I knew my family and I knew who they were, but I didn't have a bond with them or connection to them. Me and my sister were very close, but it wasn't until I was a teenager that I actually started to develop relationships that were lasting. And when I read the research about the adolescent brain and, you know, the rewiring of the brain and all that stuff, I was like, this makes sense to me because it happened to me that way. It was in adolescence that I really was able to connect with people who were permanent, lifelong. So, yes.
I want to just build on that because I think that's a really good question. And so, who were the people in your life or the person in your life that helped you to have hope or to help you see an alternative reality to what you grew up in?
I think that the people in my life were definitely my foster parents. They were actual parents to me. So when I did stuff that was typical to a teenager, that a lot of people would, send young people back for. So when I stole or when I lied, and that type of thing, they didn't just give me back. They really walked me through those things, supported me. Now, of course, it wasn't a perfect situation, but they were very pivotal in helping me to feel normal. And I think that's one thing that we should talk about more too, is just the normalcy of, this foster care experience and how normal is it for certain things to happen. And there was a really interesting article about normalcy in the Huffington Post a couple of weeks ago that basically talked about how a lot of times young people grow up in foster care in an abnormal situation. Like, this is abnormal for me to have, whatever situations to happen that happen in foster care. But then when I age out, I'm immediately expected to be normal. And so I think that the people who were pivotal in helping me to feel normal versus the perfect situation were my foster parents. I also had an independent living coordinator who was very supportive of me. And actually, even as an adult, she was very pivotal in helping me to reach my personal goals and challenging me to, walk out my dreams. So one of the things was my first book that I wrote was because she challenged me to do it. And so it's people like that, I think, and people play different roles. So it doesn't have to be a foster parent, but that those foster parents were my support, as well as my caseworkers. And then those other young people that I connected with who had similar experiences and similar walks, but we were all in different places in our life, and we were able to support and encourage each other. That was huge for me as well. And so that connection with the peers, the connection with the foster parent, and the connection with the caseworker were mine.
Not to get too much into your personal life, but I'm wondering how your younger sister grew up. She was adopted by the aunt, and how she turned out, and then your older sister, who was in the same situation with you, what kind of things she experienced and what she's doing now.
So it's very interesting with when I talk about my siblings, because a lot of times I present based on my siblings because we all had different experiences. So if my older sister was here today telling you about our foster home, it would be completely different. Like, she did not like my foster mom. Okay. They did not get along at all. So it would be a different, it's different for every young person. But my younger sister, adopted by a maternal aunt, my aunt got mad at somebody for something. Point is, she stopped communication between the ages of 16 and 18 for my younger sister, so I wasn't able to contact her or reach out to her. And so then when she finally turned 18, we were able to connect, and now we're building that connection, which is difficult to do because, and I'm not going to say it's difficult, it's just imagine, this is a grown woman. The last time I knew you as a person, you were 6, but we're family and we're sisters, and so we're supposed to have that. How do we have that? How do we navigate that relationship? And so for my older sister, she now has her own family. She's married, she has kids, and she is now walking out how to tell her story, how to share her story as well. And we hated each other as kids, which I'm pretty sure people can relate to, like that sibling that you was just like, ugh. But now we talk every day. She's like my best friend, so that's a huge deal for me as well. And I had one more thing to say, but I'll probably think of it later as far as that. But yeah, so that's what my siblings are doing. Yes.
Could you tell them about Celebration of Excellence?
Celebration of Excellence, Celebration of Excellence was absolutely amazing. It was an amazing experience for me. I have not been to it recently. Literally, I graduated from high school in 2004, and I attended every Celebration of Excellence after that until about 2012. Celebration of Excellence is basically a graduation ceremony for young people who have achieved their educational goals. So whether it's high school, or it's they got their high school diploma, or they got their GED, or they graduated from college. Celebration of Excellence is a group of committed community partners who come together and decided to put on a graduation ceremony for these young people that is specific to ensuring that their biological family, foster family, caseworkers, all that get to share in the celebrating of that young person achieving their educational goals, because we know statistically that a lot of times young people don't graduate. Young people in foster care are at a higher risk of not graduating from high school, so it is a huge deal that they graduate. So we make it a big deal at the Celebration of Excellence. And so I don't know any details about how it's
July 1st.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I should tell. Thank you, because I haven't been to a Celebration of Excellence in about 2 years now, so I will be there.